Hey, it's Nikki. Welcome back. I've got another Halloween DIY for you today. This one is quick, easy, and so much fun. All you're going to need is some foam clay, which you can find right on Amazon, along with a few embellishments, and that is it. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, here's my foam clay. I thought it was so cool that they sell it in black. I did not know that. And it's very satisfying to play with. It's one of those sensory things. You could squeeze it. And I could play with this for hours. It was that fun. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab a big handful. Well, that depends on how big you want your hats, right? I want mine fairly big. Oh, look at that stretch. Oh, goodness. This was my first time working with this type of foam clay. It's very different from, is it Crayola that makes the white foam clay? I think the consistency is quite different. So I grabbed it, squished it in my hands to release some of those bubbles. And yes, I needed to remove my rings. That way, they weren't getting all gunky. Although I don't think this would stick to jewelry, but better to be safe, right? And once I got the bubbles out, I just rolled it with my hand and then began to shape it. Now, if you've made a peduncle, this is quite similar. As you can see, I'm just squishing down to make my brim of my hat and then grabbing a hold of the top of the hat, shaping it, and then I begin to twist. Now, you could use regular clay and then paint it. The hard thing about foam clay is it takes days to dry, but it never really gets hard like regular clay. But if you have, regular clay, I just go ahead and use that. It just so happened that I saw this on Amazon and thought it'd be fun to try, and it's not all that expensive. But yeah, just use what you have if you aren't able to buy this foam clay. Okay, so this was the very first one that I made. And as I was making the others, I noticed that my hat, like the top of my hat, slowly started to gravitate off to the side. And so what I did with the other three that I made is I took some aluminum foil and shaped it into my hat, and then I wrapped my clay around that. So a helpful hint: if you do work with this type of clay, you're most definitely going to need a structure. That way your hat stays upright. I was going to add this burlap around the whole rim of the hat, but then decided just to cut a little square and glue that down to my hat. And then I add one of those puka pods, I think that's how you pronounce it, glued that right on top of my burlap. Then I grabbed some of this twine I got on Etsy, I'll be sure to link that down below, and just tied a simple bow and then glued that down to my hat. Okay, this is my second one, and where I grabbed the aluminum foil and just shape it into a hat and then work my clay around it. This project's a lot of fun, guys. You could do this with your kiddos and they would have so much fun. Have some apple cider and put on some spooky music, maybe have some popcorn and just have a lot of fun. repeated the same steps with this, but I just added a cinnamon stick. I tied off a piece of twine and then glued this down to my hat. And that is it for this little Halloween DIY, and I truly hope that you enjoyed this as much as I did. I'm working so hard towards my goal of 1,000 subscribers, and it would mean the world to me if you'd give it a like, leave me a comment, or subscribe if you haven't already. Your support truly means the world to me, and it keeps me inspired. Thank you so much for spending time with me today, guys. Until the next one, bye.